What's up guys, this is Chris here, and today we're going to be making a divisive and pretty controversial video. Today we're going to be going over 5 guns I just don't like. This is kind of a departure from some of the other videos where I've put down guns that are very subpar. The guns on this list are not bad. They're not the worst guns in the world, but they are guns I personally do not like. I personally don't like to shoot. Some of them are expensive and some of them are cheap, but all of them are guns that I just don't like. We're gonna go over the specs, the prices, the action, the caliber, and all the things I don't like about it, and some of the things that you might actually like about it, because I can't stress enough, just because I don't like guns doesn't mean you might not. Now before we get into the video, I do want to mention the sponsor of the video, which is the Sonoran Desert Institute. The SDI has been a long-time sponsor of the channel. They are an online university for firearms education. If you are interested in an associate's degree in gunsmithing, if you are trying to get your foot into the door, or if you are trying to start your own business, this is a great place to start. And it is a good way to get a degree that is certainly useful in the job market. Now let's get right into it with number 5, and that is going to be the Keltech Sub 2000. Now the Keltech Sub 2000 certainly isn't the worst gun in the world, and it's, in my opinion, not a terrible pistol caliber carbine. If you don't know what it is a 16-inch PCC or pistol caliber carbine that takes Glock mags. It is extremely affordable, somewhere between $400 and $600 depending on where you buy it, and it is basically just a rod in which you shoot 9mm. Very, very minimal ergonomics, but it's meant to be more of a survival rifle in the first place. But the reason why I don't like it is because A, it's way too small for me. The length of pull is very uncomfortable for me. The stock is uncomfortable. The trigger is terrible, and it has a habit of being unreliable, at least for me. Now, the most recent generation has fixed the ergonomic issues somewhat. Now you can put a red dot on it and still fold it in half, which is, I forgot to mention, the claim to fame to the Keltech Sub 2000. Not only is it a 16-inch lightweight carbine that's only about 4 or 5 pounds, I can't exactly remember. It's very, very light and very packable, but it does in fact fold in half. The downside is that the old ones, you couldn't fold them in half with red dots, and the iron sights are garbage, so you're really no point in carrying it if you can't hit anything with it anyway. The Glock mags are cool, but many carbines take Glock mags these days, and they don't shoot like a garbage rod. I liked the Keltech 10 years ago, but compared to modern day pistol caliber carbines like the X-Star EP9, which is even cheaper and has significantly better shootability, ergonomics, accuracy, and pretty much everything, I think the Keltech Sub 2000 is a dated design, and I think it is meant to be on Ian's videos one day. Now, if you're getting into guns for the first time and you've decided on a Keltech Sub 2000, I think it's going to do okay for you. I think if you're looking for a home defense gun and you want to get a very cheap gun that you think you're going to pack around, I think it's an okay idea. There are worse guns on the market, but I would steer you toward better 9mm pistol caliber carbines like the Smith & Wesson Response, like the FPC, which I would consider to be twice as good as the Sub 2000, and it folds as well, and it's around the same price. And if you're just looking for affordable guns, I would definitely check out Freedom Ordnance or the X-Star. The new X-Star is around $500, but it comes with an M-LOK rail, and it's a gun you can actually shoot fast and accurate, and when the time counts, I think that is going to be a better option. Now, in at number 4, probably the most controversial gun on the list, because this is a great gun, I just don't personally like it, and that is going to be, ooh, this is hard to say, the Smith & Wesson JFrame. The Smith & Wesson JFrame is a very good gun. It has been used throughout history many, many times for many years in self-defense situations, and it's very successful. It has a lot of advantages, including being unbelievably reliable. It has 6 shots or 5, depending on which one you get, but they almost always go off, and that's due to the fact that even in standoff distances, you can press it into the unintended target, and it's gonna still work because it doesn't have a reciprocating slide or anything that can go wrong with it. It can't get caught in clothing and all kinds of other great stuff. That being said, the gun is very hard to shoot because it is a small revolver with a very heavy trigger pull. It's a good gun to get good with because you can practice your trigger control, but it is very, very hard to be accurate with the gun. It's also very limited in capacity, especially due to its size and weight compared to modern day micro 9mm or 380s. If you take a 38 Special Smith & Wesson JFrame and put it on a table with a 380 ACP Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0, in my personal opinion, they're not even close. I know that the 38 Special packs just a little bit more power, but not much. You get half the capacity, half the shootability, and the trigger and ergonomics and sights on the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard are going to be so much better and so much easier to use for pretty much everybody. The fact that the bore axis is higher on revolvers makes it not only harder to point for people who are used to semi-autos, but it makes the recoil feel even a little bit more than it would with a lower bore axis gun like the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. Now, if you're looking for a concealed carry gun in 2024, J-frames are a good way to go, but if you're trying to hit your intended target, I feel like there are better options, at least for me. As a semi-automatic guy, I generally go toward the Smith & Wesson Shield or the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard for a concealed carry, and I leave my revolver in the past. Now, that being said, I think there's a lot of great merits for it. It's just not for me. I don't shoot them as well as I shoot semi-autos, and I like to hit stuff. Now, in at number 3, another controversial gun, because I guess they all are. This is going to be the FN P90. Now, hold on, before you get shitty in the comment section, I played GoldenEye 2, I dual wielded them, and I love them. But life isn't a video game, and the FN P90 is not exactly the best gun in the world if you actually get it out on the range and shoot the thing. First off, the FN P90 was introduced for the PDW contract for Russian paratroopers and all that stuff. A lot of you know the history of it. In civilian use, it is a 16-inch bullpup that is chambered in the 5.7 by 28, and it has a 50-round capacity with a top loading magazine. Very cool design, looks awesome on TV. If you use it in real life, it's terrible. The magazines are extremely hard to load. Yes, they are 50 rounds, but if they're 5 times harder to load than a 30 round, what's the point? On top of that, the gun weighs about the same as a 5.56, but you're packing about as much punch as a 22 mag. In my personal opinion, not a good trade-off. Add to the fact that the gun that you're gonna buy at the store is a 16-inch gun, which is still a relatively long gun for the power. I don't love that because you can buy AR pistols that are obviously smaller. Now, the Secret Service did carry the P90 and probably still do, but you can see these days the Secret Service aren't exactly the elite force they used to be. The trigger on the P90 is absolutely terrible because it was meant as a machine gun like the MP5, and the civilian version of it not only sucks because of that, but also because it is a bullpup. Bullpup guns with the action in the rear usually have longer linkage, and that makes triggers terrible. That's why if you pick up a Tavor or if you pick up an AUG, the trigger is just not going to be what you're used to with an AR-15. I like having it hang on the wall at my house because it looks super cool and reminds me of those old Pierce Brosnan days when I was in 6th grade smashing out on multiplayer. But the reality is I never take it to the range because the round's anemic. It's, again, hard to load, and it's just hard to have fun with on a day at the range. And for me, that's all it's good for, because if I'm going self-defense, I'm going 5.56. Hard to shoot, hard to load, hard to love. In at number 2, the 509 LS Edge. Now, this gun is a competition gun or a duty gun. I don't know, because it doesn't know. It has the weirdest mix of features of any gun I've ever seen with the price tag that it has. And I would say it's one of the most overpriced guns that we've ever had on the channel. I don't see a reason why this gun really exists, to be honest with you. There are so many guns that are better than this gun, and for the price that it comes from, you can buy like 3 Glocks. I am blown away that this gun not only was released, but still even exists. I literally saw a video about this 2 days ago, and I don't know why this gun won't die. I don't understand why you'd put a 6 or 7 pound flat face trigger in a gun marketed toward competition. I don't understand why you would put these bomb-proof duty sights on a gun that has slide cuts where you can get debris in it. And I also don't understand how you could charge over $1,000 for a gun that clearly did not cost that much. The FN 509 series is a good gun. I wouldn't say it's a great gun, but it's a good gun. And if you got a standard 509 compact or something like that, I wouldn't have any problem with it. But if you're paying $1,000 more just to get slide cuts in your slide and get the world's dumbest sights, I just don't really see the point. Now, don't get me wrong, the gun was reliable, and if you buy it and get used to it, I'm sure it would work for you. That's why this is the list of guns I just don't like, not shitty guns. There's plenty of shitty guns out there that are much worse than the 509 Edge. However, they don't probably cost as much, and they just don't piss me off as much. All right, and number 1, Take a guess what it is. Just take a guess. It's the P320. I wish this wasn't on this video, but I couldn't figure out another gun that would top this, because I might be the only person on the internet that has this big of a problem with it, and it's become like sort of a meme thing in my comment section. The P320 is a good gun, and I saw a Grand Thumb's video. He dropped it a bunch of times and it didn't go off, and then I saw that he did drop the 1911 and it did go off. And I gotta tell you, the drop test issues are not the reason why I don't like the P320. I don't like the P320 because it sucks to shoot, in my personal opinion, and it doesn't have to suck to shoot. It's got a very high bore axis because it was modeled after the 220 and it was a double action gun. So I get that, but change it. If it's been a decade, you guys released it to the US military at cost so you could get that marketing so people on the civilian circuit would think it's a good gun, because if it's good enough for the military, it's good enough for you. However, Glock exists, M&P exists, the CZ-P10 exists, Walther exists, Canik exists, and on the list goes of guns that are just better than the P320. They just don't have the military cool factor. Now, the 320 has been, in my experience, the most unreliable of the premium guns. Did it fail again? If you get to the $500 to $800 polymer frame striker fired 9mm price point, you better expect that gun should work. Now, the P320 has advantages. It has the fire control unit, which I absolutely love. And I love that in the P365. And before you say I'm a Sig hater and that I hate all Sigs, which is what everyone says when I say I hate the 320, I love the Rattler, I love the MCX, I love the MPX, I like the P365, and one of my favorite guns of all time is the Sig 226. The Sig 226 works no matter what you do to it. You can stick fucking cupcakes in it and it will still work. It served the Navy SEALs well for 2 to 3 decades, and it was one of the finest tested guns in military tests. Unlike the P320, which it is what it is. They got it at cost. It was able to be modular. Glock failed to make a modular handgun, the P320 won, and that's history. And ever since then, they've been trying to make better and better versions of the P320, and I think it's gotten to the point now to where it's palatable. Like, if you take an X5 Legion out and shoot it, it's a good gun. If you take the comped version of the X5 Legion and take it out and shoot it, it's a good gun. But if you buy an M17 or an M18 and you compare it to, let's say, a CZ P10, which is half the cost, don't do that if you're a P320 fan. The gun's more shootable, it's more reliable, it's more accurate, has better ergonomics, it's lower in your hand, and again, half the cost. So it is what it is, and these videos are only my opinion after all, and this one honestly was meant to be more of a cranky old complain about guns video just for entertainment. But if you don't like them, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please support your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.